Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. Hope all is well. Shout out to all my troopers out there, man. I am your host, Q Bracy. And today I'm going to be reacting to Abba and Preach criticizing some of Just Pearly Things' points. First and foremost, I want to say that Just Pearly Things and the points that she made are her own observations. They are not the reflection of any space out there. All right. But before we get into it, man, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and like the video. It's good for the algorithm. When you come in, like the video. And just to give everybody that's been rocking with me since day one a heads up, what I'm going to be doing moving forward is I'm going to be doing 20, 30-minute lives that'll give me the opportunity to engage with y'all on different subjects. And if we end up going longer, we go longer. But I'm going to try to keep it to 20 or 30 minutes and, and then get out of there. Peace to everybody that's in the building. So that's just a heads up, man, for all my day ones that's been rocking with me. And I did a stream earlier, but my pops came in and we was talking about investments and things of that nature. So I had to attend to that business. But we should be good to go right now, fellas. So we're going to get into it, all right? So around last week sometime, Abba and Preach put out a video about Just Pearly Things, and pretty much they were criticizing her position. And I want to go ahead and play the video right now for you.
Birth control, I'd ban it, but that'll never happen. I think that's the root of all evil. And I'd actually go for the root of all evil.
The root of all evil. That's what she said. Okay, my girl.
Say it. I don't think women should vote.
Huh?
I don't think women should vote. I don't think women should vote.
Lord Jesus, keep on going.
Yeah, that's
no
it.
Women, you can't vote. No birth control. Keep it going.
Yeah, no, because it's always freedom without responsibility. And
I
so,
love
like,
it.
the
Women
reason
should not
No,
vote.
but-
Pearly
but I'll
said it
tell you- I'll
herself.
tell you-
So that was Hafiz's little gotcha moment, right? Which was real corny because he didn't express his position. It was just like he wanted to say, look, y'all gonna take this clip. This is the clip that I'm gonna use to win the debate. But anywho's, man, let's keep playing it.
I'll tell you why, though. I'll tell you why. Because it's freedom without responsibility.
I love
And before women, like I believe in consequences for your decision. So the men know if they vote someone batshit crazy into power, you guys get drafted. We don't. Women decide elections. We're 55% of the population. I think if we want to vote, equally draft us. Y'all want equality. And personally, I don't want to get drafted, so I'll be in the kitchen.
So she said, I don't mind you taking my right to vote from me if it came with being drafted. And a lot of men and women would say the exact same thing. A lot of men and women, in terms of speaking for women, would say the exact same thing. I would say, as a father, I don't want my daughter being able to get drafted. And I would tell my daughter straight up, like, if come on, like, you don't. Nah, if that's what came with the ability to vote, which as we start going down the rabbit hole, we're going to see that is a part of it. So at this particular point, the only thing that Just Pearly Things has done to me is over exaggerated when she said birth control is the root to all evil. I don't think it's the root to all evil, but I do think sexual immorality makes up for a lot of bad things that happen in society. Let's keep listening.
Wait, hold on. I thought she was crazy. I think she has a point.
Go ahead.
She's talking about equality.
Sure.
That's just what the birth control thing. Hey, yo. But I understand where she's coming from with the drafting thing.
2 hours later.
No, it's not because they don't. It's not because they vote and don't get that they don't have consequences of not being what. Nah. So yeah, no, I got nothing. I really tried.
Why don't you just say women should get drafted? This whole idea of like you shouldn't get voted to get drafted.
No.
First off, when's the last time a draft happened?
It don't matter when the last time a draft happened. They just had a situation over there in Europe, and it was a lot of women that was talking about feminism and this, that, and the third. And when the draft happened, they was like, we out of here. And they made the men stay. The men did not have a choice. I think you had to be like in your late 70s in order to leave the country. So it doesn't matter how long ago it was. And that's one of the problems that we have in our society, is that delayed gratification and delayed punishment. Like, people think just because it's not going to happen today, that means that we should just totally ignore the fact that it could happen, and these are the responsibilities that you could have if this happened. It's the same thing as somebody breaking into your home while you in there with your family. What's the likelihood of that happening? It's very low for most people. It's getting higher every day, but it's very low for most people. But that's your position as a man. And the king is supposed to be in a position where combat is minimal. I mean, these are simple rules of engagement in life, but that in no shape, form, or fashion means that he's not the king just because he doesn't have to exercise his powers every day. Let's keep listening.
But what, 30, 40, 50 years? Okay, that's one. Two, you act like when people get elected to be politicians, they don't enact laws that negatively impact strictly women. What, you think a birth control ban wouldn't affect women primarily?
No,
it only affects women that don't keep their legs closed. Like, why, when we have these conversations, why is it always like we live in a society, man, that is very funny, because they always talk about how women, the men are the sexual ones. But anytime you talk about a female curbing her sexuality or being sexually responsible, it's made to seem as if you are stopping her from exercising her God-given right. If God wanted women to be out here sleeping around recklessly, he wouldn't have built them the way that he built them. You are taking, and also too, man, when you start talking about a lot of the things that's going on, we see how they just said that you cannot delete a baby in the Supreme Court. They said that's the states are responsible for that choice. So all of these things that people believe are rights are not actually rights. These are boundaries that was overstepped by people that said it was a right, and it stayed in play for a certain amount of time. A lot of this destruction, as many of my viewers know, started happening around the 1960s. The two questions that I want to answer today is this: is voting a fundamental right? And is birth control, oh, I spelled that wrong, is birth control the root to all evil? These are the questions that I want to answer today. These are the questions that I think are the two main sticking points in this conversation. I dropped the link in the chat if you want to come in. Peace to whoever it is on with me right now.
just men.
What do you think? An abortion ban doesn't affect women primarily?
No, because at the end of the day, when you give women unilateral choice making when it comes to bringing a baby in the world, a lot of men are affected by the fact that a woman can get rid of the baby without his permission. A lot of men are affected by, so no, it's not. I don't think that there are laws, especially nowadays, that are made that strictly impact women, and a lot of laws that impact men that they say only impact women. It's like, it's hard to explain, but what I'm basically saying to you is that no, these laws don't just impact women, they impact men, because they give women the ability to do things without accountability, which is basically what Pearl was saying.
Right? There are plenty of laws that a crazy batshit politician come in and enact that would primarily only affect women. But you pulled up drafts, which is like something that rarely, if ever, happens. And then you're just using that to say, they should lose their right to vote. And the birth control thing was so crazy to me. It's like argument for the birth control, I guess, is because of birth control, women can now be more selective, and so it's worse for society. So they want to remove your ability to choose. And here's a problem.
No, all of that he just said, we can't step over that. It's not about a woman being more selective. It's about women being less selective. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't really think these guys listen to themselves when they speak.
And so it's worse for society. So they want to remove your ability to choose. And here's a problem, okay? This girl's a really popular red pill creator. And people sent me this link because the dude in the interview was acting retarded. And to be fair, in the interview, she was making a lot more sense than that guy was, okay? But I stopped at this part and I had to cringe so incredibly fucking hard because I don't think people realize how crazy red pill folks sound when they say stuff like this and how easy it discredits them. I think people should bring back slavery because like, what? I think women should lose the right to vote. And I think also they should lose their right to some of the biggest inventions that brought us to this current age right now. People want to just get rid of because what?
So what he's not saying is whether he agrees or disagrees with the current age and if we've gotten better or worse. This is an essential question that has to be brought up with Abba and Preach. Are we better off as a society now than we were in the past? That's an essential question that has to be asked. We don't know. People assume that we were better back in the day. I will say a lot of older people do say, like Thomas Sowell talks about how low crime was. Jesse Lee Peterson talk about the good old days. So I do hear a lot of older people saying it was better. But for Abba and Preach, they are assuming that nowadays are better than back before. And I think this is one of the major problems that we have. You have to take a position. And you have to take a position based on an ideology that you have. And the ideology is, do you think that we are better off as a society or worse off? I was listening to Dr. Phil, and Jesse Lee Peterson was on, and he was on there with Anton Daniels, right? And what Dr. Phil was saying, they were talking about giving birth to children. What Dr. Phil was talking about was how being a father changed his life, how he seen when his sons became fathers, it changed their life. And so there's this idea of, there are a lot of people that speak on the future of humanity, and they don't actually have a stake in the future of humanity. So they don't care. They don't care what the school system is like. They don't have children that they have to send to school that they got to worry about if the kid is going to be a part of some random school rampage. So these people come in and they speak on these subjects, not really caring about the future and the future being better and how things are moving. And so to me, what that does is it gives people a very short-sighted point of view.
A lot of these folks enter this red pill space and they'll say like, oh, we're not misogynist. We're not misogynist. We're not anti-women, not anti-women. You should lose your right to vote and you should lose your ability to have contraceptives. What? You can't.
So are you saying are you saying that everything that predated the 1960s or when did women get the right? 1919 is when white women got the right, but in the 1960s is when black women got the right. Are you saying that everything that preceded that time was of what people were engaging in misogynistic behavior? This is what I'm basically trying to say. Like, we act like these things that we talking about, which is birth control and voting rights, we act like this has been in existence. If women got the right to vote in 1919 and this country was founded in 1776, that means that 200 plus years went by without women having the right to vote. So we can't sit up here and act like these things are fundamental in who we are as a country. We just can't.
Cannot hold on to the moniker that you guys are not misogynist, that you guys are not anti-women, and then take away some of the most basic fundamental rights to people who not only pay taxes, who not only participate in society as full-fledged adults and have to finance things. You know, like, listen, whether you like it or not, women are paying their taxes, women are involved in politics, women are helping to make these decisions, they're in managerial positions. It's not like they're here on the side. That's not the case.
And also 51% of the planet. But
Okay? So you sit there, you say, we're not misogynists, but people who contribute a lot to society shouldn't have the right to vote is crazy. Because I imagine if you're really looking at it like, well, they don't contribute as much as a man. There's plenty of groups who don't contribute as much as others. Should they lose their right to participate in democracy?
Yes.
What about poor people?
only rich people should vote.
Because they pay the most amount of taxes. Is that
Yeah.
how it should be? Huh?
That makes sense. Old folks, women, kids. Because if you can, if you're like 12, you can hold a rifle. I mean, you haven't contributed to society yet. You could make that case.
Oh,
You don't vote, you go to war, and the rest fund. Yeah, it's not that bad. Think about it. I think it makes sense.
You and I.
So the question becomes, what is the right to vote tied to? Is it tied to anything that is substantial in nature, right? Is it tied to anything that's substantial in nature? And this is why these conversations are very important. Now, I want to play a clip right now from, hold on, let me get it. All right, let's play this clip.
Control America. But
You don't need a formal conspiracy.
Right.
When interests converge, these people went to the same universities and
Please.
fraternities. They're on the
It's
same
very
boards of
simple.
directors. They're on the same country clubs. They have like interests. They don't
Yes.
need to call a meeting. They know what's good for them,
It's a
and they're getting it. And there
Is
used to be
there-
7 oil companies. There are now 3. It will soon be 2. The things that matter in this country have been reduced in choice. There are 2 political parties. There are a handful of insurance companies. There are about 6 or 7 information things. But if you want a bagel, there are 23 flavors because you have the illusion. You have the illusion of choice.
Right.
You have the illusion of choice. You have the illusion of choice. This is what we're talking about, because when we start talking about voting and things of that nature, and pardon me, I want to go back to what Abba and Preach was talking about when they spoke about saying we should bring back slavery. For all of you that don't know, slavery is still in existence. In the 14th Amendment, it clearly states that you are allowed to enslave somebody if you say they're a criminal. Who gets to say if people are criminals or not? One day, weed is illegal. The next day, it's legal. One day, alcohol is illegal. The next day, it's legal. But if I say you're a criminal, it doesn't matter if it was legal one day and illegal the next day or vice versa. Because the fact that you did it means that now I could charge you as a felon. You don't get the right to vote, and you basically become a slave, right? You lose your 14th Amendment right. So this whole idea of people live under a great illusion. They live under a great illusion that a lot of these old systems and things of that nature have gone out. No, they have been reformed and brought back in. Or if I say, okay, I'm gonna give you the right to vote, then like George Carlin said, then what I'm going to do next is dilute the power of voting to basically everything that you think matters, it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna play another clip of a great example of this. And this was Vladimir Putin speaking about what he told Donald Trump when Donald Trump became the president. This is what Putin said. He said, I've communicated with one U.S. president and with the second and the third. He said, presidents, some come and go, but the politics remain the same. Do you know why that is?
Президенты приходят и уходят, а политика не меняется. Знаете почему? Потому что очень сильна власть бюрократии.
Because the bureaucracy has a lot of power.
Вот человека избрали, он приходит с одними идеями, к нему приходят люди с кейсами. Хорошо.
So a person is elected, he comes with ideas, then people with briefcases come to visit him, well dressed in dark suits, kind of like mine, except instead of a red tie, it's black or navy.
Одетые и в темных, как у меня, костюмах, но только не с красным галстуком, а с черным или с темно-синим. И начинают объяснять, как нужно делать. И все сразу меняется.
And then they explain what to do, and the whole rhetoric changes. You see, this happens from one administration.
Это происходит от одной администрации к другой.
This happens from one administration to the next. So this is exactly what Putin told Trump. I see people come in as president, people you think you voted in for president, people you think you voted in for president. They come in and they have all of these ideas. Then they get kicked out because you have the bureaucracy. And anybody that's dealing with America understands that the bureaucracy of America is far more powerful than even the idea that you can choose between presidents and that presidents can come in and actually make a real difference. And see, this is what we talk about when we talk about conspiracy theories and speaking the truth. A lot of y'all can't handle the truth because you want to live under the illusion of safety. You don't really want to deal with things that's going to make you uncomfortable, right? But in this book, man, I hear a lot of dudes all the time talking about different US presidents, and they talk about these presidents like they are just some of the most esteemed individuals. And when you really start doing your research, going down the rabbit hole, they was involved in treason as well. This is why certain things are happening in this country in the first place. So the fact that you have these different programs that came about, these programs didn't just come about by accident. Let me say this to you. If you really think about it, the idea of birth control and creating a pill was never really needed. One of the things that I studied, and I still study now, is herbs. And there's so many herbs out there that you could take to help you get rid of whatever it is that you're trying to get rid of, including a little baby. So the idea that now people are going, and they tell you this, if you take certain herbs, they say if you're pregnant, be careful when you take this herb because it could lead to the loss of your baby, right? So now all of a sudden, there's a propaganda pushed and there's a pill created in the 1960s. You think that just got there by accident? Like I said, when Pearl said that this is the root to all evil, I can't agree that it's the root to all evil, but I'll say about 80%. I'll say about 80%. Or it's between that and money. Let's just keep it simple like that. Money and sex are two of the main destructive forces, or two of the main motives that people use to build and destroy. If they wanted to create a program right now, everybody's talking about how depopulation is a thing. If they wanted us to start populating more, they would automatically take that stuff off the shelf. They'll just give you some excuse and be like, well, we ran out of the materials that we need to be able to make birth control, so it's no longer in existence. All contraceptives, we don't have no more plastic to make condoms. They can say anything. They already telling you it might be a shortage of food. It might be a shortage of water. So when you think about supply and demand, if they ever wanted to stop supplying it because you don't make it yourself, they could stop supplying it. So who's supplying it? Who's backing it up? Where's the money coming from? And those people that have the money, what is their motive? So when we talk about certain things that's fundamental, and we know that these things are not fundamental, and we know that society has been degenerate and has died off, we have to ask ourselves, what is going on? And these, when I look at Abba and Preach, you know, these are the type of guys. That's why the video is called Stand for Something or Fall for Anything. If you are the type of individual that, because if you're the type of individual that says something and you stand on what you say, they say that you're radical. You can, me and you, we could both be Christians. And I can start going to the Bible and pointing out stuff in the Bible and stand on it. And you will say, I'm a radical Christian and you're a more progressive Christian, right? Now, it's in the Bible. So what makes me radical? The fact that I'm acknowledging what's written, the fact that I'm acknowledging the facts. When I talk to y'all, right, I always talk to y'all about the same thing because I needed to get drilled into your mind. It says, studies were done to determine methods to arrest the population explosion before the point of no return would be reached. It was determined that an immediate attack on the problem would involve 2 points of intervention. Now, you want to know that a third study was made by the Club of Rome ending in 1968 to determine the limits of growth. So you're talking about world governments converging to figure out the limits of human growth. And they said, we must arrest the population. We need 2 points of intervention. Okay. They said the first was to lower the birth rate, and the second was to increase the death rate. They said to lower the birth rate, several programs were put into motion. The first was the development of positive birth control methods using mechanical, chemical, and medical procedures. The women's, these were developed and implemented. Okay. The women's liberation movement was started with the demand for free abortions, using pro-choice as its rallying cry. Homosexuality and gay liberation were encouraged. Was born. Homosexuals do not have children. Zero population growth became a hot topic at cocktail parties. Individual freedom, the heat of the moment, religion, and the old blue laws sabotage these efforts. So when they originally tried to do this back in the 1960s, it was some things that sabotaged the efforts. But right here, you seeing that the goal, all of this stuff that they saying that Abba and Preach is talking about, you taking the rights from women and this, that, and the third. Birth control is not a right, dog. Birth control is not a right, man. Come on, knock it off. Knock it off, man. This is why I got the thumbnail up there, because to me, if you don't stand for nothing, like, to me, it's like this, man. Either you the type of individual that you're going to take a position and let your position be known and be a real man, or you're going to hide behind just taking down other people's positions without stating your own position. But when you come with a position, know that it's going to get thrown in the fire. It's going to get tested. It's facts over feelings, bro. It's not even personal. It's facts over feelings.
Just this is the kind of stuff that you will see that will come and discredit the red pill folks. And I'm saying this as like,
discredit the red pill folks to who? Like, this whole idea, once again, that you operating under, and that a lot of people operate under, is that when people decide to do something, they want to be accepted by mainstream. Who said that people that's in the red pill, real red pillars, or real people that's into knowing the truth, who said they was interested in converting people that believe in the lie? You operating on an assumption and a straw man argument.
Forget me. Let's say a news person pulls up a media hit piece, okay, on Red Pill folks. They're going to play this clip.
This is Pearl's World.
This is a straw man argument.
I'd get rid of birth control. I'd ban it. I think that's the root of all evil. I don't think women should vote.
And their audience is going to know that red pill popular people are saying dumb shit like this. And it's going to just.
Now you saying you think it's dumb, which is your position, but you haven't said why it's dumb.
Discredit everything. This is not like a wacky take, like, oh, you know, like, I feel like women should earn more than men, or men should earn more than. It's not that. You should lose your ability to vote. Now, you may not care about voting, but understand it is one of the most fundamental freedoms that we have in the free world. Okay, you may not care for it, but it is one of the most. It's akin to telling people you should lose free speech.
Now, free speech is in our Constitution. It's the first thing in our Constitution. But only fools believe in free speech. Only fools believe in free speech. There are some things that you can say without consequence here that you can't say in other places. But there are some things you can say here. There's always a consequence. So freedom doesn't mean no consequence. And so this whole idea that let me pull this up really quick. This country was formed in 1776. Okay? For people that may not be familiar with the history. 1776. We were not black men. In order for black men to be able to vote in the 1870s. Hold on, let me pull it up. There was a central theme that allowed black men to be able to vote. The issues of emancipation and military service were intertwined from the onset of the Civil War. Let's be very clear that exactly what Just Pearly Things is talking about is what black men had to do to be emancipated. And around the same time is when black men got the right to vote. Now, when black men got the right to vote, it was still some pushback on it. But they was like, hey, we fought for this country. We got people that died for this country. So the conversation was different because they could actually say, we fought for this country. It wasn't like they was just saying, this is a fundamental right that everybody should have. That wasn't the argument. So when we talk about these type of things, when we speak on these type of things, we can't just make it seem like things come out of nowhere. We can't say that voting is a fundamental right, because that's not true. That's not true. And the problem is when we start saying things like this, it creates entitlement to the point where people are no longer actually paying attention to the deeds and the actions that's necessary in order to make certain things happen. So hold on, let me see. It was one more thing I wanted to look at. But yeah, the fact of the matter is this, man, that for those of you that's just tuning in, man, I'm already halfway home, but I appreciate you being here. Peace. Drop a comment, hit the like button, support the show. But what Abba and Preach are talking about, they don't bring up any research. Nothing that they saying has no research to it. So basically they're just talking. And it's like, if you're not going to present no facts, then what's the point, man?
because you don't see it is. And if you don't understand how unhinged this messaging is, I don't think people are really listening to what it means to the average person. It's interesting because I'll say like red pill stands for the truth. Oh, people are misunderstanding the red pill. The red pill's not misogyny. It stands for the truth. Women shouldn't be able to vote. Nigga, you are bugging. You are bugging.
So once again, that's just Pearly Thing's point of view. And this is what a lot of guys do when they try to create this straw man argument, is they try to say because somehow a person that is claiming to be something has their own mind, then that should be a reflection of the group, because we should all be one mind. Red pill does mean facts, not truth. It does mean facts. All right. But at the end of the day, what you choose to do with those facts and the opinions that you choose to have based off of those facts is not a reflection of the people who gave you the facts. Because a lot of y'all you don't get no real facts until you get into red pill situations, which many of us experience these things in a lot of different ways. You may have been red pill when it comes to politics or whatever. Then you start realizing certain things, but that don't mean because you follow certain people that you got to think and say everything the same. So a lot of times what they want to do is they want to attack the group. But, at the end of the day, it's like if you look at Christianity, you could bring up Jim Jones. You could bring up all the people that committed atrocities through Christianity. But that doesn't take away the validity of Christianity just because you had a few bad actors that came from Christianity. And so when people make this argument, it's so basic and it's so simple, but it really is it's a stupid argument, because you're doing it so you don't have to actually speak about the point, the facts.
Play this clip to 99% of people and they'll be like, you are bugging.
Yes, but peep game. In their way of thinking, that's the truth. That women do a whole bunch of crazy things without any repercussion. They just do shit. It's wild. And if they do shit and it's wild and they vote and it's wild, to them, that's the truth. And that's why they call it the truth.
Yeah, it's still misogyny.
Yes.
You can't say this is the truth. It's not misogyny.
But it's like
your truth is misogyny.
But it's
because
like
I don't even like using that word because it's so overused. It makes me cringe.
It's like
let's be honest.
Yeah.
If somebody comes out and say women shouldn't be able to vote for this reason, you're gonna be painted as misogynist.
Yes, but it's exactly like whenever people their ultra conception of what being a racist is.
But the irony is that just Pearly Things is saying this as a woman from a woman's point of view. So you basically calling a woman a misogynist, which is ironic, right? This is not men saying this. But once again, if you're going to say just Pearly Things is a misogynist, or anybody that holds that point of view is a misogynist, are you saying that for all our history where women wasn't able to vote, that these people hate women? Like it's just one of those where if you're a single woman, then cool, like whatever. But if you're a man and you got a wife, or you're a man and you dealing with a woman, we vote in the way that I say vote in the household. So we only thing is going to do is give us 2 votes my way. So she don't really have. So I don't know how other men run their household, but in my household, the way I vote is the way we vote. Okay. And I'm going to be very honest with you. A lot of men nowadays do not have the right to vote because, they have the right, but have you seen that clip that Coach Greg Adams played where the mother was screaming on the son about him voting? Man, if your wife a Democrat and you decide you want to be a Republican, please, I haven't even seen relationships work like that. So a lot of guys, what you see during election cycles is a lot of guys, they are Democrats. They don't even have any real good reasoning. You get show them all the stuff Democrats do. You can show them all the bad stuff Democrats do and all the good stuff Republicans do, and they'll still be like, nope, I'm a Democrat. Just to say that that's a level of mental conditioning. Just like nowadays, men are not allowed to really have standards without them being smothered and saying he's a misogynist and he hates women. Like, men are not allowed to have standards. It's the same thing with everything. It's like you have to follow women because women know the right way. Because women know the right way. And you, once again, man, you got to ask yourself at the end of the day, why is all of this even a problem? Because as a society, we've been on a major backslide for the last 60 some odd years. It's not like all of these things came into play and we just been knocking it out the park and doing good. No, our children are suffering, and where we are going as a society, we bringing about our own destruction. And so these type of topics are not really the type of topics that's a game. Because as people are sitting around having these casual conversations, it's stuff happening in real life in real time. So it's really not a game. You know what I mean? It's not one of those things. It's just like there's some real action that has to be taken if we want to try to salvage anything. But that's the other thing about the red pill and the people that I follow. This red pill information I've been preached, and anybody that can hear the sound of my voice, is not evangelism. It's not about converting people. Red pill information in this particular space is about helping men understand intersexual dynamics so you can protect yourself. So I don't know where people get this idea from. They can get it from anywhere, but I'm setting the record straight. What we talk about in this space is not about changing women. We know if you've accepted the reality of the situation, you're not going to change women. So this information is not about changing women, which is why when Just Pearly things or anybody in the space starts speaking about things that women need to do to reform, that's good to help those individual women that want to take that route. But if you're relying on women to change in order for things to get back in alignment, that's a blue pill hope. You live in the hope strategy. So the best thing you could do is come into space to get what it is that you need to get. If you want to learn, rest in peace, Alan Roger Curry. If you want to learn how to smash women, then go see Alan Roger Curry. Go see AMS. If you want to learn about the divorce system and things of that nature, go see Coach Greg Adams. Go see TLA. If you want to know the tools and the basics, go see Rollo Tomasi. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to see how these young girls are in real time so you can accept the truth and get on that type of time, go see Fresh and Fit. Like, but it's so many different content creators that is really about where you are in your life and what it is that you want to get from the content. But it is not designed to make women better. It is designed to make men better that want to be better. And it is not designed to convert men. Most men that come into this space, they have a question because they have a problem. That's how I got here. So most men that come into this space, they have a question or they have a problem that they're trying to solve. And as they're trying to solve that problem, they end up going down the rabbit hole because they realize, oh, so this is why that's happening. Damn, I always had a question about that. So that's why that's happening. So men are very practical in our approach to life. A lot of times when men are looking for advice, we looking for advice to solve a problem, not to merely just talk about shit. So the idea that Abin preach and a lot of people operate under is this idea that the people that say they red pill or this space was created to try to like change Western civilization. Right now, they putting out more food stamp, like all of the entitlement programs. Ain't nobody getting off the entitlement programs that's mainly taken up by women. These women not getting off of those entitlement programs to come back and be a wife. The only way women going to straighten up, which for a lot of these women is going to be too late, but the only way a lot of these women going to straighten up is A, when they hit the wall, or B, when the society hit the wall. And then they say, I need a man. But until then, as long as they can get their entitlements, as long as which affirmative action is entitlement. The number one benefactors of affirmative action are white females. So as long as women can get these entitlements that's coming from corporations and government, these women not going to change. And that's a red pill truth. And if they do change, good for them. But the best thing you can do as a man, period, is worry about yourself. And when you worry about yourself, the whole world will open up to you once you start getting on your path and doing what it is that you need to do. So, yeah, a lot of people get that twisted. Let's keep listening.
Is the dude with a little mustache. If you don't,
Sure.
if you're not that, then you're not that, even though you do certain things. So people, for them to be a misogynist, you have to delete people or having the intention.
That's a straw man argument. Nobody said in order to be a misogynist, you got to delete people. What we saying is that I'm seriously, fellas, or whoever's in with me, do y'all not understand that part of the reason why they had to take religion away in all of these things is because they say that religion is misogynistic? If you start reading the Bible, you'll see it's some pretty strong things said about women. They were shamed. So what we're saying over here is not that anything short of deleting a woman is misogyny. What we're saying over here is that whenever it comes to telling the truth and talking to women, there's always this thing where if you start telling the truth about women and you start saying women have a place, then people say you misogynistic. Now, what's very interesting is that most men that say women have a place, most of these men say that women have a place because they want to protect the women, right? So if I'm out with my girl and I say be quiet, I'm putting her in her place because I'm saying whatever you say, I'm going to have to step up. And you see simps and simping forces running in to save the day every time they get in and they losing their life. When in actuality, they should have checked their girl first. And then after you talk to your girl and you send her to the house, you might come back and have a dialogue with the person to try to figure out what's going on. One of the biggest indicators of dudes being simps is overreacting to what females say. And so she knows she got you because she can say anything. You just going to jump up and risk it all right then and there. So she's remote controlling you. She's your slave master. But she's your slave master in a different way because a lot of y'all worship women like they are God. And God said that a woman is supposed to be under you. God gave women a place. Let's keep listening.
Of deleting people or not wanting to have the intentions and that, and because they're not that extreme, they don't want to be painted as that.
Sure.
I think that's why this is happening. And these are, I'm not. I mean, I love women.
You are.
I love women.
You gotta wear that hat. You gotta wear that hat. That's what you guys are, and
Yeah.
not all of you, but the
But
folks
You want people to wear that hat.
in this kind of rhetoric. Yeah, that's what you are. And people actually, yeah, but you say a lot of stuff. Listen, there's stuff that these red pillars say that is absolutely true.
Uh-huh.
You know, when they're talking about hypergamy and the idea that like you know, there's some discriminatory practices that women engage in that are absolutely hypocritical, and then they demand to be coddled all the time about their preferences or whatever. It's like, yeah, no. There are some bullshit. And we pointed out, but I would never want to associate with the label because of cringe shit like this, right? Oh, red pill's the truth. Yes, and feminism stands for equality, but 99% of you niggas don't want to call yourselves feminists, okay?
Feminism doesn't stand for equality. This is what I'm saying. And it's like when people, like, first and foremost, there is no such thing as like a red pill space. Actually, it's really just about seeing the world for what it really is and not having on the rose-colored glasses. So it's really just seeing the world how it actually is. But when people say things like I mean, it's crazy. I forgot what the hell I was going to say. Hold on. I want to pull this up because I done went way over my time.
For a reason. You can understand that even though at its root it may be that, you understand the way it manifests in the world and the way that it's marketed isn't that. Same thing with Red Pill. It's like I could buy into a lot of the true things that they say. But guess what? You guys are so fucking cringe online and say so much radical dumb shit that I'm like, I would never want to associate with that kind of branding. Ever. Listen to that. And if you don't understand how crazy that sounds, again, play that clip for most people in the world and they'll be like, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah, but this is not for most people in the world. And if you saying that, and this is why it's called betas versus betas, because if you saying that I'm gonna duck my head down because most people in the world, like, so what? Either you stand for something or fall for anything. And there's a philosophy where 85% of the people are dumb, deaf, and blind. So 85% of the people they sheep anyways, bro. So why are you talking like, because 85% of the people say that's cringe, that's supposed to mean that it's cringe just because 85% of the people say that. 10% of the people know what's right, but they take advantage of the 85%. And then you have the 5% that's observers that watch everything that's going on, and they like, wow, and these are the dangerous individuals. And when you become dangerous, as you can see right now, you realize you never had freedom of speech. I was listening to Louis C.K., and he put me up on this book called Tropic of Cancer. And for a long time, it's always been books that had to be sold underground because they were too vulgar, right? So this whole idea of having the freedom of speech, since the beginning of time, the people that own publishing companies and advertising companies have controlled speech. So freedom of speech is an illusion. And the 5% that see the truth and actually want to speak about the truth, you see what's going on. They get canceled every single day, even though they have hundreds and thousands of subscribers, even though people are hungry for the right knowledge. When society is doing good, that's because we have good leaders that are leading the 85%. But when society is not going well, that is because we have a bad leader leading the 85%. And America has been on a bad trajectory with a lot of treason for a long time. So a lot of sheep have been led in the wrong way, and so we're not going to use what they think as the measuring stick for sanity.
And it's unfortunate because you can have a bunch of great takes, right? Like her in this podcast. She did a great job for the most part, countering what Hafiz was saying, because Hafiz was lost. But if you do all of this and then in the middle of your spiel, you're like, let's bring back slavery. Sorry, you're going to lose a lot of people.
Yeah, but let's talk about how slavery never left.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to lose
you don't
a
even
lot
got to
of people.
bring it back.
So you guys got to understand the way some of this stuff is perceived online. I know folks want me to react to the debate, but I thought this was a flashpoint for me because outside of this red pill space, the only thing that a regular person is going to care about when they watch this interview is the portion where she's saying that's her solution to a lot of problems. Women need to go to wife school. They need to lose birth control, lose their right to vote.
If that's being so, why are you on that podcast?
Who's me?
That girl. She should be talking right now. She's a woman. Shut the fuck up, lady. You're a woman, right? Start with you. Shit, don't vote. Go to the kitchen. Shut the fuck up. We don't want to hear you.
That shit was crazy, bro.
Whenever you say stuff like that, well, there's repercussion and there's, consequences.
Yeah.
If you don't decide to, take account. No.
Now here's the crux of the situation. I like that Preach said that, or Abel, whichever one it is, because that is the crux of the situation. I even said that before about Candace Owens, right? It's not like it's not like the space needs just pearly things. She could actually be quiet and, not do what she's doing. So what he's saying is very true. A lot of women that are saying they are conservative or that are espousing these certain things, they're not doing what they're talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a great point that he made.
I think viewers are smart. Viewers understand to take what they can and then leave away what they don't like.
You think?
And so, yeah, I think viewers should keep.
Okay.
I think a lot of people probably would see this clip, even folks who call themselves a red pill or whatever it is, and they would look at this and be like, nah, I'm not rocking with that. And I think that's good. So I think the viewers, got to give them some credit. Most of them can finally figure this shit out. But yeah, that shit makes y'all look bad. That shit makes y'all look bad. So just careful who you champion out here because they can easily come to discredit your movement.
Now, he brought up another great point, which was certain things that's being said make you look bad. I just want to say this. This is something very important that I got on my journey with transformation and just trying to ascend to higher spiritual levels. One of the things that's going to stop you from being the best you is caring about looking good. If you can't get over your need to look good and risk and being embarrassed or misstep, you're never going to be able to reach your full potential. You're never going to be able to reach your full potential. A lot of people have mastered the art of looking good and going nowhere. So when certain things are said, like, this don't look good, this don't look good, that don't look good. It's like, I was listening to a Bobby Shmurda interview, and he said something very important. A lot of y'all tone police, right? You are silly because somebody could tell you they're going to slap you in a nice way and you will be okay with it. But somebody could tell you they want to hug you and without the right tone, and you will get mad because they don't have the right tone. It lacks any type of intelligence. And what I'm basically saying is that if you always worried about things looking good, like you can get something that look good, but it ain't good for you. So, this whole idea of looking good is really, it's a bunch of BS. But this next thing I pulled up with Abba and Preach, I just want y'all to see how different they approach a female saying something about not needing men as opposed to how they approach just pearly things saying women shouldn't be able to vote. Watch this.
This is a long ass video.
Oh.
I edited it down.
Oh.
But to be fair to the woman who created this video, she was very thoughtful about a lot of the stuff that she said. And there were some good points that she made. And so if you want, you can go check out her video and see which parts you guys agree with or don't agree with. Don't let us inform you. So the link is below so you can go watch it without our input yet. But I'll play portions that I thought were interesting that I want to talk about with Preach. And then we'll just kind of go from there.
Lonely single men.
So you see how thoughtful and considerate they were when they was talking about this woman. Now listen to the title of this woman's video. Women are better off without men, according to studies. Now, when a woman says this, Abba and Preach want you to go. They don't come out and be like, that's radical, that's some bullshit. They say, we want you to go watch it and make up your mind for yourself. The bottom line is this. A lot of what's being produced out in Canada is just a bunch of blue pill cats. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't no disrespect. That's just the reality of the situation. That, when anytime somebody's speaking for men or taking up for men, all of a sudden, it's like, hold up, let's throttle that down. Let's get them to chill out. But a woman can come out and you don't have near as much smoke for her saying she don't need men. And this just lets you know, the climate that we are in. And a lot of y'all know that, but like I said, I like to present the facts, man. I like to come with the facts so it can be understood that a lot of things that's being said, it's just people talking, bro. They not even, they're not even, they don't think, they don't bring any research. They just talk. And this is what I'm in the show on. For if you've been here with me, I appreciate you rocking with me. Make sure you like the video, man. It's good for the algorithm. But right here, Just Pearly thinks says she thinks that birth control is the root of all evil. Okay, so now let's go here. Ricky Lake, who did the movie, the Business of Being Born, which was very influential in my life and helped me when it came, my wife and I, when it came to natural childbirth. She has just come out with a movie that she had to finance herself called The Business of Birth Control. Okay. And in there, she talks about the 60 years after the pill revolutionized women's emancipation. The Business of Birth Control examines the complex relationship between hormonal birth control and women's health and liberation. The document traces the feminist movement to investigate and expose the pill's risk alongside the racist legacy of hormonal contraception and its ongoing weaponization against communities of color. Weaving together the stories of bereaved parents, body literacy activists, and femtech innovators, the film reveals a new generation seeking holistic and ecological alternatives to the pill, right? But you see here, just like I read to you earlier, where basically they said that this pill was engineered to control the population. And here you can see 60 years after. So like I said, we're not going to act like birth control has been around. And based off what Just Pearly Things was saying, was that, which I'm not sure if it's a fact, so we got to check the research on it. But ever since the invention of birth control, our society has become much, much more degenerate. And I'm pretty sure she got the stats to back it up, but I don't. But if she's saying since birth control, society has become more degenerate, and she has the stats to prove that society has become more degenerate since birth control. I also heard Thomas Sowell say the same thing. Then why, to me, we are just in a position where, once again, our society is going to go through whatever it's got to go through, because there's more people concerned with looking good than actually than actually having our society be good. And as long as we're in a position while we going down the pathway that we going down. So like I said, if you tapped in and check this video out, man, I appreciate you. Make sure you like the video, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back in here with more videos for y'all. Peace.